13 Alabama Ghosts, and Jeffrey, of course, is the, that's the go-to ghost book in Alabama, but there are so many ghost stories in Alabama. I don't know if it's just Alabama on its own or if every state can claim this, but Alabama certainly has a lot of ghost stories. So, but it's funny you bring up Bayview Bridge, because first is not Bayview Bridge, but speaking of every state and anything that, in any ghost story that you may hear of in any state, is Crybaby Hollow, or as we say in Northwest Alabama, Crybaby Holler.
Yes.
there's always a Crybaby Bridge somewhere in a state, right?
Exactly. And this is one I did not know about before doing a little research to come up with some stuff a little different to talk about. And I do say Best Alabama Ghost Stories is my title, but the title really should be Best Alabama Ghost Stories, or the best ones I could find this weekend, because there are so many. And I tried to level them up between some of the more, I'm not so sure about that too.
Right.
Okay, this is really spooky. So
and unlike us, he did show prep.
Right. I had to come and outdo everybody. So
way to show us up. Thanks.
And possibly I needed this to help keep my own self organized.
Right.
So there's that too. But Crybaby Hollow, this one is in Hartselle, Alabama, which is in Morgan County. Morgan County is very near, or Hartselle is very near Decatur, at the very north central edge of Alabama. It's just to the west of Huntsville. And the story goes as you would imagine, because you've probably heard about this before I jump into that. This is off Highway 31 between Hartselle and Decatur. It's actually very close to 31. If you were to take US 31 up through Hartselle as if you were going to Decatur, you pass this road. You actually go across the creek that this bridge crosses, as a matter of fact.
Okay, James Spann, what barbecue joint is it next to?
Well, let's see. It's very close to Dessler High School. Whatever, Bo.
Oh, this is going to be so good.
I want you guys to be able to experience some of this, because as Brock says about being a heavy skeptic of ghosts, if you want to go out and it's somewhere like this and it's public, this isn't a private area, and just test it to see if you can figure it out. And like Jeff said about going to Bayview Bridge, this is one of those places you can actually go to, you can get to, and you can probably be there at night. And if something's going to happen, you might actually experience it. Who knows? Yeah. But it's on KO Road, and the creek that it goes across is Moss Spring Branch. In case you're looking for it on a map,
it's almost like Cairo syrup.
I'm trying hard not to say Cairo, and I did double check the spelling of that just because I'm like, somebody in the South has called this Cairo. That's K-O. K-O. But that's the bridge, and that's all it is. It's nothing fantastic. It's only about 12 feet long, if it's that, and it's a branch off of a creek. So this is like a sub creek, if you want to call it that. It's more like a stream. But apparently it can get pretty heavy with water whenever it's raining quite a bit. But the legends go as, if you've ever heard of a Crybaby Holler, and I laugh at Crybaby Holler because my mother told me a story about that. And I can't remember if it was in Walker or Fett County, Alabama. I think it's Fett. In a very similar scenario, the story is the exact same story that she gave me. And I believe through some of the other research I was doing, there's one in East Alabama, somewhere between Anniston and Gadsden, I can't remember where it was almost the exact same story. So if there's really ghosts, there's really no telling if this actually happened here. But the legend goes that there was a homicidal maniac that killed the mother and the child and dumped them in the creek, and they were washed away. The other is a teenage couple had an unwanted child, had an unwanted pregnancy, and took the child after it was born and dumped it in the creek, and it was washed away then. And of course, wails of a baby crying is what makes Crybaby Hollow. Now, the more accepted, if you will, story that the locals discuss or talk about is a Native American woman from several hundred years ago fell in the creek during a flood while she was holding a baby, and the child was swept away. And of course, that's where the wails are coming from.
Okay.
And a very similar segment of the story, probably edited over the years, was an early Scots-Irish settlers, or there were early Scots-Irish settlers passing through the area. And as they were crossing this branch of the creek, they hit a rock while pulling their wagon across. They hit a rock, and it tossed out a baby that they didn't realize that it tossed out. It was at night, and they didn't know until later. And as they went back to try to find the child was gone and been swept away in the creek. So
Okay.
that's this Crybaby Hollow in Hartselle, Alabama, Morgan County, North Alabama. So
All right.
if we're up that way, it might be worth pulling off 31 for a few minutes because it's, like I said, it's fairly close off US 31 and not that far from I-65 either.
Apparently, if you go up here, don't take your baby.
But to say, yeah, make sure your child is firmly secured.
Yeah, just leave your child at home. If you have a baby, don't take it
by
with you whenever
himself.
you go up here. Yeah, 'cause something crazy is going to happen. There's going to be a tidal wave coming through this branch that's about 5 feet wide. That's going to take your baby away.